Hey everybody, welcome to the Midweek Check-In. How's it going? We're getting so close to the end of the entire Bible in 1 year. This week, you're probably finishing up the book of James. I wish I could sit down with all of you and say, how did you like it? How do you like it? This might be the first time you've ever read it before or the 100th time you've ever read it before, but there definitely is a little tone there where James is kind of coming in hot. And he's really challenging us, the church, on how we act. Typically, the overtone to the book of James is all about faith versus works. But I like to look at the book of James from the concept of humility versus humiliation. James was really strong and pretty adamant about the way that we deal with money and the poor. And not that money was the bad thing overall, but that the way that we gather wealth or go after wealth or even prestige can be something that is really bad. And then in turn, how we treat those who are lower than us, whether from an economic standpoint or from just a socioeconomic standpoint, a social standpoint, it's really important how we treat people who are kind of lower than us in society. And he really challenges us with that. So he kind of calls us to be humble with our finances and our positions and the way we go after getting more wealth or making our way in the world versus how we make those below us, sort of below us. I mean, he challenges us in that way. Staying away from being humiliating, right? He talks about how when people come into a church service, to not give the best seats in the house to those who are more prestigious and ask those who are less to sit at our feet, which would definitely cause humiliation. This book is really challenging in so many different ways and asks us really to take a look at ourselves in the mirror. And I feel like the way that we live in America and this time of year is a really good time to be looking at this, our heart posture in the way of money and how we share it and how we treat those who are less fortunate than ourselves. So I hope that you really enjoyed it. We are also heading into some of the shorter but sweeter books of the Bible. We've got 1st and 2nd Peter coming up, and then, which I love, by the way. I almost went straight on to John, but I wanted to mention that I love 1st and 2nd Peter because it's the first time we get to officially hear from Peter. We hear from him throughout the Gospels, but it's not his specific writing where he is talking directly to us. And I love Peter. He is one of my very favorite people who got to walk with Jesus. I learned so much from him. So to get to read his book, 1st and 2nd Peter, is really fun. Of course, then we'll go into 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and then another really short but sweet book, Jude, before we get to the book of Revelation. So you guys, before the end of the year, we're going to talk one more time and address the book of Revelation before we finish out this entire Bible in this entire year and shift over into doing something new with Lectio Divina. I hope that you guys are being blessed as you press in and that you understand that reading God's word is really important for so many different reasons. But one of them is each and every time you read God's word, it's something new. Even if you've read, for example, like I said in the beginning of this message today, if you've read the book of James 1,000,000 times, every single time we actually get something new. Because God's word is alive. It breathes into us from right where we are today. It makes a difference in our lives and challenges us today. It also makes us feel loved and comforted and reminded that He is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I hope that you can remember that too, and that you are blessed during this holiday season and that you're having fun as you prepare for Christmas and it's not too crazy and hectic. Please know that we are praying for you guys here at Living Word and that we love you and that we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.